The ancient starship appeared over Tokyo Bay at dawn, its massive hull stretching nearly 2 miles across the morning sky. The vessel's surface, scarred and pitted with what appeared to be battle damage, caught the rising sun's rays and scattered them in patterns that defied physics. Around the world, billions watched through their screens as humanity experienced its first contact with the Nexus. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood in JAXA's main control center, her coffee forgotten in her hands as she studied the vessel's readings. As Earth's leading expert in quantum mechanics, she had been immediately flown to Tokyo when the ship appeared. The energy signatures made no sense, the ship appeared completely dead, yet something about its structure seemed to pulse with potential. "It's a gift," announced the Nexus representative, its holographic form hovering in the center of a United Nations emergency session. The alien's crystalline body structure caught the light, creating rainbow refractions across the assembly hall. "We offer this decommissioned vessel as a gesture of goodwill to welcome humanity into the galactic community." Major Jack Harrison, head of the newly formed International Vessel Research Initiative, IVR, stood beside Elena as they watched the transmission. "They think we're children," he muttered, his military training evident in his rigid posture. "Giving us their hand-me-downs." Elena's attention remained fixed on her tablet, where complex quantum readings from the ship created patterns she'd never seen before. "Maybe that's exactly what they want us to think," she whispered. The next week passed in a blur of activity as the international community scrambled to respond. The vessel, which the Nexus called the Legacy, was guided to a massive facility hastily constructed in the Japanese countryside. Elena watched as teams from every major nation arrived, engineers, physicists, military specialists, and dozens of other experts, all eager to unlock the secrets of humanity's first alien artifact. The Nexus sent 3 observers, their crystalline forms housed in environmental suits that seemed unnecessarily complex. They moved through the facility with an air of bemused superiority, answering questions with practiced ease but providing little actual information. Elena worked with Dr. Raj Patel, a brilliant systems engineer from India, to coordinate the initial surveys of the vessel's interior. The ship's corridors seemed to absorb light, creating an unsettling atmosphere as their teams mapped its vast interior. "These patterns," Raj said, pointing to markings that covered the walls, "they're not random damage. They're too precise." Elena nodded, running her hand along one of the marks. For a moment, she thought she felt a vibration, a response to her touch, but when she checked her instruments, they showed nothing. The Nexus observers watched from a distance, their crystalline forms refracting the team's flashlight beams. 3 weeks into the project, Elena made her first breakthrough. She was alone in what the Nexus claimed was an auxiliary power node, running standard quantum field tests, when her equipment detected something extraordinary, a flutter of quantum entanglement, so faint it was barely measurable. The pattern matched human neural activity more closely than any technology she'd ever encountered. That night, Elena called an emergency meeting with Major Harrison and Dr. Patel. In a secure room deep within the facility, she shared her discovery. "The ship isn't dead," she explained, displaying her readings. "It's in a form of quantum stasis, and its systems are specifically attuned to human neural patterns." Harrison leaned forward, his expression intense. "Are you saying we can wake it up?" "I'm saying it might already be waking up," Elena replied. "And I don't think the Nexus ever knew what it was truly capable of." The next morning, as Elena walked past the ship's main entrance, she noticed something different. The hull's surface seemed to ripple, just for a moment, like the surface of a pond disturbed by a gentle breeze. When she checked her instruments, they showed nothing unusual, but she knew what she had seen. The Legacy wasn't just a decommissioned vessel, it was something far more significant. As she watched the Nexus observers glide past, their crystalline forms throwing rainbow patterns across the walls, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had been given something far more important than a simple gift. The question was, why? The answer began to emerge a week later. Elena and her team had set up a series of quantum resonance tests, carefully disguising them as basic structural scans to avoid arousing the Nexus observer's suspicion. What they found changed everything they thought they knew about the ship. "Look at this," Elena told Harrison and Raj in another late-night secret meeting. The holographic display showed complex patterns of quantum entanglement throughout the ship's structure. The entire vessel is one massive quantum computer, designed to interface directly with conscious thought. But not just any consciousness, human consciousness specifically. Harrison's eyes narrowed. "How is that possible? The Nexus couldn't have designed this for us. They didn't even know we existed until recently." "Exactly," Elena replied, her voice barely containing her excitement. "Which means this ship wasn't built by the Nexus at all. They found it, probably dormant like this, and could never activate it because their consciousness patterns are fundamentally different from ours." The implications were staggering. The Legacy wasn't just a discarded warship, it was a piece of technology from an unknown civilization, one that either was human-like or had designed their technology specifically for human use. As if responding to their discovery, the ship began to show more signs of awakening. Subtle patterns of energy rippled through its hull, visible only to the most sensitive instruments. The Nexus observers became more attentive, spending longer hours watching the human team's work. Elena knew they were running out of time. Soon, the Nexus would realize that their gift was far more than they had believed. But with each passing day, the ship responded more strongly to human presence, its systems beginning to align with their neural patterns. The Legacy wasn't just awakening, it was choosing its true pilots. And the Nexus had no idea they had just handed humanity the key to their own ascension. The first real breakthrough came during an ordinary brain scan. Dr. Elena Rodriguez had convinced the project leaders to let her test human neural responses near various ship systems, disguising it as a safety protocol. Lieutenant Maya Patel, a pilot with exceptional spatial awareness scores, was hooked up to the monitoring equipment when everything changed. Maya had dozed off during the routine scan, and the ship responded. Subtle patterns of light rippled across the walls, disappearing before anyone could document them. But Elena's quantum sensors caught everything. The ship's dormant systems had synchronized perfectly with Maya's dream state. "It's like it was waiting for us to sleep," Elena explained to Major Harrison in their secure underground meeting room. "In dreams, human consciousness operates on quantum levels we can't normally access." The ship recognized that pattern. The discovery led to Project Morpheus, a classified operation hidden beneath layers of mundane research. While the main teams continued their obvious studies of the ship's hull and basic systems, Elena and a select group worked with sleeping volunteers, mapping the ship's responses to human dream states. The Nexus observers remained oblivious, their crystalline forms casting prismatic patterns as they glided through the facility. Their attention focused on the visible research, exactly as planned. But deep within the ship, humanity was making connections the aliens had never imagined possible. Dr. Raj Patel made the next crucial discovery. He had been analyzing the ship's structural patterns when he noticed something odd about its quantum signature. "It's not just responding to us," he told Elena during one of their late-night sessions. "It's learning. Each interaction makes it more attuned to human consciousness." The evidence was undeniable. The ship wasn't simply awakening, it was evolving, adapting itself to human neural patterns with increasing sophistication. What had started as faint responses to dream states was becoming something far more complex. Lieutenant Maya Patel proved to be key to understanding the ship's true nature. Her neural patterns showed an unusually strong resonance with the ship's quantum matrix. During one test, while in a meditative state, she actually managed to activate a small section of the ship's internal systems. "It was like remembering how to walk," Maya tried to explain afterward, her eyes still wide with wonder. "The knowledge was already there, waiting. I just had to remember how to access it." The Nexus observers showed their first signs of concern when power fluctuations began occurring throughout the facility. The ship's awakening was becoming harder to hide. Elena and her team worked frantically to develop explanations that would satisfy the aliens' increasingly pointed questions. "They're getting suspicious," Major Harrison warned during an emergency meeting. "We need to accelerate the project." Elena agreed, but she had concerns of her own. "The ship's integration with human consciousness is proceeding faster than we anticipated. We're not just learning to use it, it's learning to use us." The truth about the ship's capabilities began to emerge through Maya's continuing sessions. The vessel wasn't simply a warship or transport, it was a consciousness amplifier, designed to merge with its pilots on quantum levels that the Nexus couldn't comprehend. During one particularly deep meditation session, Maya accessed what appeared to be the ship's historical records. The images and data were fragmented, but they painted an astonishing picture. The legacy had been created by an ancient race that had achieved mastery over quantum mechanics through the power of consciousness itself. They weren't more technologically advanced than the Nexus, Elena explained to the project leaders. They were more evolved. They understood that consciousness itself is the key to manipulating quantum reality. The implications were staggering. The ship hadn't been designed as a weapon or transport, it was a tool for expanding human consciousness to levels that could reshape reality itself. The Nexus, with their crystalline forms and rigid thinking, could never have understood its true purpose. But time was running out. The ship's responses to human interaction were becoming more obvious. Strange lights and energy patterns appeared with increasing frequency. The Nexus observers spent longer hours monitoring the research teams, their crystalline forms reflecting the growing tension in the facility. Elena knew they needed to make a decision. The ship was awakening faster than anyone had anticipated, its systems integrating with human consciousness in ways that defied conventional physics. Soon, they would have to either reveal their discoveries to the Nexus or find a way to take control of the ship before the aliens realized their mistake. The answer came from an unexpected source. During a routine maintenance check, one of the engineering teams discovered a hidden chamber deep within the ship's core. The room was filled with crystalline structures similar to the Nexus observers' bodies, but these crystals were dead, empty shells. They weren't the first, Elena realized, studying the ancient remains. The Nexus found this ship the same way we did, but they couldn't wake it up. They tried to interface with it using their own crystalline technology, and it rejected them. The discovery confirmed their theories. The legacy hadn't been given to humanity as a gift, it had been given to them because the Nexus couldn't use it themselves. But now the ship was awakening, responding to human consciousness in ways the aliens had never imagined possible. Major Harrison called an emergency meeting of the project leaders. "We need to move forward," he announced. "The Nexus won't stay blind to our progress much longer. It's time to show them exactly what humanity can do with their gift." As Elena left the meeting, she passed by the main hangar where the legacy rested. In the dim light, she could see faint patterns of energy rippling across its hull, like neurons firing in a vast brain. The ship wasn't just awakening, it was becoming something new, something that neither humanity nor the Nexus had ever seen before. The time had come to reveal the true power of human consciousness, and the legacy would be their key to the stars. The legacy made its choice on a quiet Sunday morning. Lieutenant Maya Patel was conducting another meditation session in the ship's core chamber when the entire vessel suddenly hummed to life. Energy patterns cascaded across every surface, and systems that had been dormant for millennia awakened all at once. The Nexus observers reacted immediately, their crystalline forms vibrating with obvious agitation as they converged on the core chamber. But they were too late. By the time they arrived, Maya was already connected to the ship's consciousness in ways they couldn't comprehend. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her eyes filled with swirling patterns of light. "I can see everything." Dr. Elena Rodriguez's instruments recorded quantum fluctuations beyond anything they had previously detected. The ship wasn't just responding to Maya, it was merging with her consciousness, sharing knowledge that had been locked away for countless centuries. "The Nexus aren't the only ones out there," Maya reported, her voice distant as she processed the flood of information. "The ones who built this ship, they seeded consciousness throughout the galaxy. We're their descendants. Major Harrison ordered an immediate security lockdown, but the Nexus observers had already transmitted data back to their fleet. Within hours, 3 massive crystalline ships appeared in orbit around Earth. Their message was clear: surrender the Legacy or face the consequences. But the Legacy had other plans. As the Nexus ships moved into attack position, the ancient vessel began to transform. Its battle-scarred hull rippled and shifted, damaged sections regenerating as its quantum matrix fully integrated with human consciousness. "They don't understand what they've done," Maya explained, now fully linked with the ship's systems. "This vessel wasn't designed for war, it was designed to evolve. The damage they saw wasn't from battles. It was from incomplete transformations when the wrong species tried to control it." Elena watched in amazement as new data flooded her quantum sensors. The ship's true nature was finally revealing itself. It wasn't just a vessel for traveling through space, it was a seed, planted by an ancient race that had transcended physical form entirely. "Our ancestors knew that consciousness was the key to understanding the universe," Maya continued, sharing the knowledge flowing through her connection. "They created these ships as bridges, waiting for species with the right kind of awareness to find them. The Nexus found this one, but they couldn't awaken it. Their crystalline consciousness was too rigid, too fixed in its patterns. The Nexus flagship transmitted a final warning: you cannot comprehend the power you are tampering with. Surrender the vessel or we will be forced to take action." Major Harrison looked to Elena and Maya. "Can we defend ourselves if they attack?" Maya smiled, her eyes still swirling with quantum patterns. "We don't have to defend. We can simply choose not to be there when their weapons fire." The first Nexus attack came as a blast of crystalline energy that should have vaporized the Legacy and everything around it. Instead, the beam passed through empty space. The ancient ship, along with its human crew, had shifted slightly out of phase with normal reality. "Quantum consciousness allows us to perceive all possible states of existence," Maya explained as the Nexus ships fired futilely at their shifting target. "We can choose which reality we want to experience. Their weapons can't hurt us because we can always choose to be where they aren't." But the Legacy wasn't content with merely defending itself. As Maya's connection deepened, the ship began to change more dramatically. Its hull transformed into a fluid matrix of quantum possibilities, each surface reflecting a different potential reality. The Nexus observers who had remained inside the facility watched in growing horror as their gift evolved beyond anything they had imagined possible. Their crystalline forms vibrated with frequencies that Elena's instruments interpreted as fear. "You don't need those forms anymore," Maya told them, her voice carrying echoes of ancient wisdom. "Your species chose to encase their consciousness in crystal because they feared change. But consciousness isn't meant to be fixed, it's meant to evolve." As if in response to her words, cracks appeared in the observers' crystalline bodies. But instead of destroying them, the fractures released streams of pure consciousness, their true forms, freed from self-imposed constraints. The transformation of the Legacy continued, its structure now resembling a living quantum lattice that shifted and flowed with the thoughts of its human crew. Through their connection, Maya shared what she was learning about the ship's true purpose. "The Ancient Ones didn't disappear," she revealed. "They evolved beyond physical form entirely. These ships are their legacy, tools to help other conscious species make the same transition. The Nexus found one, but they were too afraid of change to understand its gift. They saw only the physical shell, not the potential within." In orbit, the Nexus fleet continued their futile attack, their crystalline weapons useless against a vessel that could shift through quantum realities at will. But the Legacy made no move to counterattack. Instead, it began broadcasting a signal, not a warning or a threat, but an invitation. The gift wasn't the ship, Elena realized, finally understanding the full scope of what they had discovered. The gift was the knowledge of what consciousness can truly become. The signal reached out to all of humanity, carrying the Legacy's accumulated wisdom. Around the world, people began to experience glimpses of quantum awareness, their consciousness expanding beyond the limitations of physical form. The Nexus fleet withdrew to a safe distance, their crystalline ships reflecting the light of Earth's sun as their commanders debated how to respond to this unprecedented development. They had intended to give humanity a defunct warship, hoping to guide their development along predictable paths. Instead, they had inadvertently delivered the key to humanity's quantum evolution. The legacy wasn't just awakening, it was helping humanity awaken to their true potential as conscious beings in a quantum universe. The transformation of humanity began slowly at first, then accelerated beyond anyone's expectations. A week after the legacy's signal reached Earth, the first changes became apparent. People worldwide reported experiencing moments of expanded consciousness, brief glimpses into quantum reality that left them forever changed. Dr. Elena Rodriguez worked tirelessly to understand the process, her instruments recording unprecedented patterns of quantum entanglement in human brain activity. It's not just affecting individuals, she explained to Major Harrison during an emergency briefing. Our entire species is becoming quantum aware. Lieutenant Maya Patel, still connected to the legacy's consciousness, had become something more than human. Her physical form remained, but her awareness extended far beyond normal space-time. Through her, they learned more about the ancient race that had created the legacy. They called themselves the Architects, Maya revealed, her voice carrying echoes of ancient memories. They didn't just build ships, they cultivated consciousness throughout the galaxy. The legacy is one of many seeds they planted, waiting for species ready to transcend their physical limitations. The Nexus fleet maintained their distance, their crystalline ships a constant reminder of the threat they posed. But their attempts to contain the situation had come too late. Humanity's quantum awakening had already begun, and it was spreading in ways no one had anticipated. Dr. Raj Patel made a startling discovery while studying the legacy's quantum matrix. The ship isn't just teaching us, he announced during a classified briefing. It's learning from us. Human creativity, our ability to imagine new possibilities, it's accelerating the ship's own evolution. The evidence was undeniable. The legacy's structure continued to transform, incorporating patterns inspired by human consciousness. Its quantum matrix now pulsed with rhythms that matched human brainwaves, creating a symbiotic relationship unlike anything seen before. But not everyone welcomed the change. Reports of resistance and fear began to surface as people struggled to cope with their expanding awareness. Some experienced overwhelming visions of quantum reality, while others found their consciousness spontaneously connecting with others across vast distances. This is what the Nexus feared, Maya explained, observing the chaos through her enhanced perception. Not that we would use the legacy as a weapon, but that we would embrace its gift of change. Their entire civilization is built on stability and control, they cannot comprehend a species that welcomes evolution. The Nexus confirmed her words by launching a new offensive, not against the legacy, but against humanity itself. Their crystalline ships began broadcasting signals designed to disrupt human quantum awareness, attempting to force our consciousness back into its original limitations. But they had underestimated both humanity and the legacy. The ancient vessel, now fully integrated with human consciousness, created a quantum shield that encompassed the entire planet. Within this protective field, humanity's evolution continued unabated. Elena made another breakthrough while studying the quantum shield. It's not just protecting us, she revealed. It's creating a space where consciousness can safely expand. The architects designed these ships to nurture quantum awareness until it becomes self-sustaining. The legacy's influence spread deeper into human society, touching every aspect of life. Art became multidimensional as creators learned to express quantum realities. Scientists found their understanding of the universe expanding exponentially as they accessed higher levels of consciousness. Even children began displaying abilities that would have seemed impossible weeks earlier. Major Harrison, watching the transformation unfold, struggled with its implications for global security. We're becoming something new, he observed during a private meeting with Elena. But what happens to our existing structures, our governments, our military? How do we protect ourselves during this transition? Maya, overhearing his concerns through her quantum awareness, offered an unexpected answer. Protection comes through understanding, not force. The legacy isn't just changing us, it's showing us a new way to exist. Conflict becomes meaningless when you can perceive all possible realities. The Nexus, however, refused to accept this new paradigm. Their fleet grew as more crystalline ships arrived, their combined presence casting prismatic shadows across Earth's sky. Their message remained unchanged: stop the transformation or face extinction. But humanity had already passed the point of no return. The legacy's gift had awakened something that could not be suppressed, the realization that consciousness itself was the key to universal evolution. Deep within the legacy's quantum core, Elena made one final discovery that changed everything they thought they knew about the architect's plan. The ship's transformation isn't random, she announced to the project leaders. It's following a pattern, a design encoded in its quantum matrix. The architects didn't just give us a tool for evolution, they gave us a map to find them. Maya confirmed Elena's theory, her quantum-enhanced consciousness perceiving patterns that normal human awareness could not grasp. The legacy is more than a seed, she explained. It's a bridge, connecting us to the quantum network the architects created throughout the galaxy. As we evolve, we're not just changing ourselves, we're helping to complete their grand design. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't simply been given a powerful alien artifact, they had been chosen to participate in a transformation that spanned the galaxy itself. The Nexus, in their fear of change, had unknowingly delivered the key to humanity's role in a cosmic evolution. As the legacy continued to evolve, its quantum matrix pulsing with the combined consciousness of humanity, a new understanding emerged. The real test wasn't mastering the ship's technology or defending against the Nexus, it was embracing the transformation that would lead humanity beyond the limitations of physical form. The Nexus made their final move at dawn. Their crystalline fleet, now numbering over 100 ships, formed a perfect geometric pattern above Earth. The message they broadcast was simple: surrender the legacy, or we will be forced to end this experiment. But humanity had changed too much to be intimidated by such threats. Through their expanding quantum awareness, people around the world could perceive the fear underlying the Nexus's ultimatum. Their rigid crystalline forms weren't just physical, they represented a fundamental resistance to change that had limited their species for millennia. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, working with Lieutenant Maya Patel in the Legacy's quantum core, made the breakthrough that would change everything. The architects didn't just leave us technology, Elena announced to the Emergency Council. They left us a choice. The legacy isn't just a tool for evolution, it's a key to understanding why evolution matters. Through her deep connection with the ship's consciousness, Maya shared what they had discovered. The Nexus found other legacy vessels before this one, she revealed. They destroyed them, fearing what they represented. But they kept this one, thinking they could control it, study it, understand it without having to change themselves. The Legacy's quantum matrix pulsed with new energy as it processed this understanding. The ship's structure, now a fluid lattice of possibilities, began to resonate with a frequency that reached far beyond Earth. Other signals answered, distant echoes of similar vessels scattered throughout the galaxy. They're all connected, Dr. Raj Patel realized, studying the quantum readings. The architects created a network of consciousness spanning the entire galaxy. Each legacy vessel is a node, waiting to be awakened by species ready to take the next step. Major Harrison, watching the Nexus fleet through quantum-enhanced perception, understood the true nature of the confrontation. They're not really trying to stop us, he said. They're trying to stop themselves from having to face their own potential for change. The Nexus ships began their attack, firing crystalline beams of concentrated energy at Earth. But the Legacy, now fully integrated with human consciousness, created quantum shields that didn't just block the attacks, they transformed them. Each beam of destructive energy was absorbed and converted into pure quantum potential. Maya, her consciousness expanded beyond normal spacetime, saw the pattern the architects had woven into reality itself. This is what they were preparing for, she explained. Not just humanity's evolution, but a moment when consciousness throughout the galaxy would have to choose between stagnation and growth. Through the Legacy's quantum network, humanity reached out to the consciousness trapped within the Nexus's crystalline forms. They shared not just knowledge, but understanding, the experience of embracing change, of growing beyond comfortable limitations. The response was immediate and dramatic. Cracks appeared in the crystalline ships, not from damage but from transformation. The rigid structures the Nexus had used to contain their consciousness began to dissolve, releasing the quantum awareness they had suppressed for so long. Their remembering, Elena observed, watching through enhanced sensors as the Nexus fleet began to transform. Their species chose crystalline form eons ago, thinking it would give them immortality. But they forgot that true immortality comes through evolution, not stasis. The Legacy's signal strengthened, supported now by the awakening consciousness of the Nexus themselves. The quantum network the architects had created pulsed with new energy as another node activated, another species chose to embrace change. Around the world, humanity watched in awe as the crystalline fleet transformed into pure quantum energy, their consciousness freed from self-imposed constraints. The fear and rigidity that had driven them to threaten Earth dissolved, replaced by an awakening wonder at their own potential. Through their quantum awareness, humans could perceive the joy of the Nexus as they rediscovered what their species had sacrificed in their quest for permanence. The very qualities they had feared in humanity, creativity, adaptability, the embrace of change, became the keys to their own liberation. The Legacy, its purpose now fully revealed, began its final transformation. The ship's structure dissolved into pure quantum potential, its consciousness merging with the combined awareness of humanity and the awakened Nexus. In its place, a new kind of structure emerged, a bridge between physical reality and the quantum realm where consciousness could evolve without limitation. This was always the architect's plan, Maya shared, her consciousness now spanning multiple dimensions of reality. Not to create a single evolved species, but to cultivate consciousness that could transcend the boundaries between species. The Legacy vessels weren't weapons or ships, they were seeds of universal awakening. Elena, her scientific mind expanded by quantum awareness, understood the mathematical beauty of the design. They created a self-sustaining network of evolutionary potential, she explained. Each species that awakens strengthens the network, making it easier for others to follow. The Nexus weren't our enemies, they were part of the pattern, creating the tension necessary for transformation. As the quantum network stabilized, new signals appeared, other Legacy vessels awakening across the galaxy as more species recognized their potential for evolution. The architect's grand design, dormant for millennia, was finally bearing fruit. Major Harrison, watching Earth's armies stand down as humanity embraced its new reality, smiled. They gave us a broken warship, he mused, and we used it to end the very concept of war. The Legacy's final gift was understanding, not just of quantum reality or consciousness evolution, but of the interconnected nature of all existence. Humanity had not just received technology from an ancient race, they had become part of a cosmic process of awakening that would transform the galaxy itself. As the transformed Nexus joined humanity in exploring their new quantum awareness, the truth became clear. The greatest superweapon was never about destruction, it was about the power to choose evolution over stagnation, growth over fear, unity over division. The rusting relic had become humanity's bridge to the stars, not through force or dominance, but through the one power that truly mattered, the courage to embrace change and grow beyond our limitations.